broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello and welcome, AfterBuzz fans. It's time for Killjoys. That's right. Welcome. It's the Killjoys AfterBuzz After Show. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. If you have not already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzz. Hit subscribe. Go to iTunes. Look for AfterBuzz. Hit subscribe. Go to SoundCloud. Hit subscribe, guys.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. You can tweet at us during the show using the hashtag ABTV Killjoys. You can tweet at me directly at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. Hopefully that's written out below. And I'm here with my lovely co-host, Zach Wilson is here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm excited.
Tell them where they can tweet at you.
Oh, well, you guys can tweet at me at that Zach Wilson, ThatZachWilson.
Do you know how to spell your name?
SON.
You having trouble there?
I know how to spell it, I just don't know how to talk.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, which is a problem if I'm doing a podcast.
Stephen is heartbroken about today's episode, so he's not with us because he's at home, so that's sad.
We sent him to the work camps on Leaf.
To cry about it. Because he was sad. Because there were sad parts to this episode. As there were happy parts.
Emotional episode.
It was, I want to say, it was my favorite episode this season so far.
What a lot of shows struggle to do in their first season is to keep a rise going, because you haven't existed long enough for fans to be really attached. You really have to deliver a better episode every week.
And they have.
And Killjoys has pulled that off so far.
Really well. All right, so you're in the chat roll with anyone who's there.
Yes, thank you all for tuning in.
So let's jump in. I want to start with Johnny and the Neuralink, because we got a lot of info about the Neuralink this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that it makes sense. Like, this is technology that, if you're going to have a Neuralink, it can't be entirely mechanical.
Right.
This is good science fiction.
I thought you were going to be like, this is good science, and I was going to be like, tell me more. I don't know science.
No, well, that's the thing. This is science fiction at, its most, this is science fiction, bottom line. Because it's based in what makes sense in real science. If you're going to, we don't have this kind of technology yet, but if you're going to interface with a biological being, it can't be entirely mechanical. It's never going to function. The body's is more likely to reject something purely mechanical.
Right.
But if you embrace the fact that this is a biological being that is made with carbon, and is an organism, put another organism, make it effectively a symbiotic relationship where the brain, the body powers the device, and then the device taps into whatever's going on in the brainstem.
So here's I wrote lots of sciencey notes because I was like, oh, she's saying big science words. So it's a mech organic thing. It's a living technology. It's a biotech hybrid. There are fragments of actual neurocortex and cerebral spinal fluid, and it's connected with chips and gears.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it has cerebral spinal fluid in it,
right?
It implies that this is very much a black market device. Because to have that kind of stuff, the only way you can get that is to either super painfully extract it from somebody, or just take it from a cadaver.
Ew.
So I don't imagine it's wherever it's from, it's probably illegal.
And it's from outside the quad. That's what we learned as well. I like that we have Johnny working on it, and what we reveal is we have this image. It is possibly, what does he say? He says it is a ghost image of Klein, and there's a window. We see his reflection. And I feel like, okay, possibly a window, but if we're looking at a reflection, could it not also be a mirror? that they were seeing?
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was implied that it was a mirror.
I mean, they keep saying it's a window. They said it was a window, and so I was like, it's gonna be a mirror, guys. Like, when we reveal it, it's gonna be a mirror.
Yeah. Oh, I just assumed. I'm on the same page. I thought it was a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, it made sense. Like, if you're seeing that strong of a reflection with a frame around it,
Right.
That's called a mirror.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh.
A mirror is defined as a very fancy piece of glass that it reflects all light.
Yeah. So then Johnny puts on the Neuralink, which gets stuck. And then we deal with that. So we break I got real frustrated because, like, we get a clue, we see this ghost image, he puts on the Neuralink, and then of course we're gonna break it. We break it, and then by the end of the episode we fix it again. And I was like, no, like either it works and we can use it, or it works and we can't use it because we haven't figured it out, or you break it and now you have to start over. Like, you don't break it and they go, whoops, it's fixed. Like, that to me is, I want to say, it's lazy storytelling.
That, like, we effectively start the episode and end the episode with the device in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I would have liked to have seen, I guess, a little bit more hurdles to fix that device. Right. Like, if that was an issue, then yeah, it makes sense that you'd have to struggle.
Yeah, if you're gonna break it, then let's go see Carlene in Utopia. She's gonna be like, well, this is high-tech, crazy stuff. I've never seen it. It's from outside the quad. Look at all these science words, in it.
Yeah.
And then I'm not gonna be able to fix it. Then you have an interesting story.
Yeah.
But I fixed it.
Yeah, well, as Mr. Goku Jr. asked, like, of all my like sciencey explanation stuff, how do you know that, Zach? And the answer is, I made a lot of it up. I mean, like, this is like from just reading a lot of science fiction.
Right.
Is the true end. It's like, this is it's not a science fiction trope in that it's been overused, but the idea of, like, technology needing to be part biological.
Oh, yeah.
Is very common in science fiction.
But not to piss off the fans, but I could list Doctor Who episodes where this is mentioned. All right, so with the Neuralink, before it gets fixed, we get taken to Potter, and we have to deal with this Potter Davin breakup. She kept calling him, and he didn't answer because I thought it was a personal call.
What a dick.
He is such a jerk. And then okay, so I got real frustrated with this situation because she's like, you didn't even have the balls to break up with me, or whatever she says.
Okay, in this situation, everybody is wrong.
Agreed.
There's nobody who's right in this situation because you are all handling this incredibly poorly.
But not just that.
Answer your damn phone.
Right.
You don't just sleep with somebody and then not answer your phone. If you're in an ongoing, like, not a relationship, but, like, you're going to talk to this person again. This
person is involved in your life. You're going to have to deal with them.
Yes. Yeah. And Potter, come on.
Well, here's my problem is he was like, you're not off the hook because you're also sleeping with your patient. And I was like, shut up. Like, that's the stupidest line I've ever heard. You guys are both being dumb.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, she's acting like they had to actively break up.
Right.
They were...
Yes.
They were not, like... They slept together, they seemed to be hitting it off, like... I was shipping the daughter. Wait.
What?
I'm trying to do a ship name on the last second there.
Oh, Davin and Potter?
Yeah.
Daughter? No. Absolutely
it needs to be better.
Pavin. It's Pavin.
Pavin is way less creepy.
Yeah. Wow, Zach.
Pavin.
I'm a big fan of shipping weird things. That ship name was awful.
Yes. Moving on.
Okay.
I thought they had really good chemistry. Even just as actors. Like, they played off each other very well. But, like, they slept together one time and she's acting like...
Well, I mean, they slept together a few times. They made it clear that they had slept... We've only seen...
Was it a few times? Okay.
Yeah, we only saw the one time where they messed up that underwear shot. But they've slept together multiple times.
Okay, but so then in your opinion, is her reaction of, like, you didn't have the balls to tell me we were breaking up to my face, is that a warranted comment?
Here's my problem.
Get it?
Yeah. Here's my problem. They're not dating, right? Like, I get him being like, I'm done sleeping with you. He tried to tell her that he didn't want to keep doing it. And she was like, no, you need this for your brain. Like, we need to keep... I mean, I get it. I get where she's coming from. Anyway, for your brain.
That's called...
No.
If that's really what she's, like...
Abuse of power?
Then maybe his comment about, like, you're sleeping with your patient is a little more warranted.
I feel like there are better sleeping with situations that we need to get to, so let's move on a little bit. Potter gets us our way to Grayson Hicks, who is a former patient of Dr. Yeager. So we kidnap him from a mental institution. I use that loosely. And we head to Utopia, which is my new favorite place in this universe, and we need to see more of Utopia. Utopia, where sex, drugs, meds, and tech are available. Everything illegal is for sale here. Utopia. That sounds like the place I would love to live in.
I mean, look, basically everyone in there is tripping on ecstasy.
And, I mean, it was a rave.
It's outer space ecstasy.
Euphoria. They call it euphoria, not ecstasy in their land. Either way, it's E. Anyway.
Yeah. The writers know what they're doing.
And the dress code,
like, fits that.
The dress code was so good too.
Oh my god, his tats.
Oh man, all right. Here's what I'll say, and I was gonna say it later, but I'll point it out now, guys. Davin in this episode alone wore leather. He was shirtless. He was handcuffed and bound to the ship. This was my kind of episode. I loved it.
Not to mention some fairly graphic shots that we'll just talk about later.
We will get there real soon, guys. We're still in Utopia. So in Utopia, we have, we meet Carlene, which is where Johnny goes over to deal with the Neuralink. And we also meet the one they call Dr. Bliss, who stole... She's the former assistant of Yeager. She stole the specs. Mm-hmm. And she kind of improved, in her eyes, what Yeager was doing. And I love that she brings in this idea of, like, well, if you can take away memories, why can't you put them in? And I was like, wait, Inception. I mean,
it's a cool little, like, mini side, like, plot line here going, because you basically got somebody who has combined the abilities of Total Recall and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind into one, because it's true, it makes sense. Like, I mean, those are two very different things, but it stands to reason that if you can figure out how to access the memory banks that well, that you could figure out the other side.
Right. So interesting.
And of course, that would be a perfect thing to find at a club that has everybody on E and but is also a weird black market.
I mean, it's both club and black market. Yes and yes.
If you'd like to reach the club level.
Yeah. But Utopia seems so fun.
You just go up, you go to the little bazaar, and it's like different booths. You're like, I need some black market weaponry. Go downstairs and just party it up.
I mean, it's funny because the other places we've seen in the quad, the other areas, we've seen similar things where there are black markets or there are bazaars, and there's always kind of a danger aspect to it, right? There's always security or the company men. But in Utopia, aside from the fact that everyone's, rolling, but like it's a safer, more fun environment. I like Utopia. I could make the ad for them. I want to go there. I assume there's something fun in the chat roll you want to share? I'm offended already.
One Lonovis one says Yael is revealing all of her kinks in this episode.
I have done no such thing. I have revealed 0 of my kinks. That said, they're all available to find online. Moving on. All right, so they steal the specs from Dr. Bliss, and they take it back to Potter. But as they try to do that, Dutch gets arrested. This whole little subplot of Dutch getting arrested and meeting up with Dulcea Kendry again really bothered me in that it was kind of irrelevant. I mean, I get that it played an important part into how we got to Dr. Yeager without security. But it also, I was like, why are we taking time out of this story to deal with Dulcea Kendry? Like, I get it, and I want to know where she's coming back, and I hope, obviously, she's going to come back. But I was like, I don't want this right now. We're in the middle of this great story, and you've interrupted
The whole plot line of them getting arrested and all that.
Of Dutch getting arrested and then making the deal with Dulcea Kendry, and the deal is this. Dutch now owes Dulcea a future favor that will be off the books. And the deal that Dutch gets is that she will be released, and 24 hours with Dr. Yeager, no security, no repercussions. Again, I hate to say this, and I really don't want to offend any writers, but I feel like, again, like lazy storytelling. Like, oh, let's make a deal. Great, now you're free.
I mean, I will say that, like, but just finding her would have felt cheap, like, if they just, like, found her through the hack or whatever.
All right.
The idea that she has to give something up, and also that, like, there's a consequence for, like, breaking into a mental institution.
Fair enough.
And removing a patient.
Fair point.
I think it's one of those things that just by the nature of serialized storytelling, that in retrospect, that action of being arrested and all of that will feel much more important once we see what she's going to have to give up down the line.
Fair enough.
But stuck within this one episode, you're right. It felt a little like, what's this scene about?
Yeah.
Because that is a scene that's going to be bigger, but in this episode's standalone story, not as big a deal.
I mean, also, we do have Dulcea Kendry calls her Yelena, which apparently Yala is short for. Not surprising. But we find out that she knows more about Dutch. And if I feel like had she revealed more, other than Yala is short for Yelena, that would have paid off more in this episode. Because she clearly is stalking Dutch a little.
Yeah.
She did her research. And I would have liked to see more.
Yeah, there's definitely more going on there. It's impossible to know at this point what it could be. Unless she knows Dutch's past.
I think she does. I think that's what she was trying to imply. All right, before we get into seeing Dr. Yeager, guys, I want to take a moment to thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everyone in the chat roll, even those who think they know my kinks. Wrong. And thank you to everyone listening on iTunes. We really appreciate you. Clearly, we love this show. We're getting real in-depth here. We're talking all sorts of dirty things, and we appreciate it because we appreciate you. We ask you to do a very simple thing for us. Go to iTunes. Hit subscribe, that way you know there's new episodes, but also give us a rating and a review. If you like our show, which I'm sure you do, that's a 5-star rating. You just hit the 5 stars and then leave a comment. If you leave a comment, you get a shout out, which we will get to in a minute. If you don't like us, that makes me sad, but you can leave us a 4-star review. That's fine. You hit the 4 stars and then leave a comment. Let us know why you don't like us. Do we have any shout outs that you'd like to read on the air?
Reflex123 says, brings me so much joy. 5 stars.
Making money on the show?
I'm really happy that so many of my favorite hosts on AfterBuzz are really getting into the shows I've gotten sunk deep in. And Killjoys is one of those where the after show hosts are right there with me. They love the characters, they love the world, and they love the interactions that are fascinating me as well. And this show is so much fun, so the after show becomes even more fun.
Aww.
Thank you.
That's really sweet.
And then Lana Vase with another is back with some more thoughts for us. That was real quick. Praise Juicy, down with the Dutch. It's
interesting.
An attempt to ship name Davin and Dutch. It's just the Dutch.
The Dutch. That does make sense.
Yeah, I mean it's tough when they both start with the same letter. But they're saying surprised that Dr. Yeager was dealt with so quickly. But the prediction that the company may try to reawaken her memories in order to get the research that she has memorized. So it's a fair question. I mean, Davin is getting some memories back.
Right.
But can they actually be recovered in full?
Interesting.
Especially something as detailed as, like, how a scientific procedure goes.
Well, I feel like we won't even need that because we discovered that, one, Dr. Bliss knows how to do it. And Dr. Bliss was really fun. I liked that character. And also, her assistant knows how to do it. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dr. Yeager's kind of irrelevant. Let's talk about her. So we meet Dr. Yeager, finally. And I agree, we did deal with her real quick. Her being
I thought they could have handled her better.
Yeah.
In general, like, not. I'm actually talking about the characters now, not the show. But like,
Okay.
they get in there, and they're like, "What did you do?" "Oh, I blocked out his memories because PTSD."
No, because he had a psychotic break, guys.
Yeah, but like basically what she's talking about, what her excuse is at the beginning,
Right.
is like, this is a procedure to prevent PTSD.
Right. We did this to help you. You wanted this.
Yeah, and I'm just like, do any of you believe this? They left the room and left her alone to like do whatever.
Well, yeah. So they go, they see her. She's like, this is what we did for you. And Davin is like, no, like, I want all my memories back. And so they're like, no, think about it. So they take him off, back to the ship to think about it. And, that makes sense to me, right? He's got to think about it. She seems like an innocent doctor lady. She's very
Bull.
nice.
Bull. Just look at her face. You're like, I don't trust you. With your giant white lab coat that like zips up like a villain.
That's true. We should have known.
People asking in the chat, Melissa Darnold says he didn't get his memories back, but the blockers were found from the nanites, and Sarah Bigelow, but wasn't Davin's memory returned due to the creepy rogue nanites. The nanites healed up all the scar tissue that was around these implants that are blocking the memories.
Right, because they fix like organic material as opposed to tech.
So like that includes scar tissue. Like scar tissue is tissue that hasn't that didn't heal properly. But whatever's the technology that's in his brain is still there, actively blocking the memories. By removing the scar tissue, I guess if you think of memories as like a couple like cells in the brain, then the cells around them have like little pieces of the information. Those pieces around there have started to clear up, so he's got these vague flashes, while the blockers are preventing the biggest part of the memory from coming back.
But he started remembering before we introduced the nanites.
Did he?
Yeah, he had his flashback dreams and nightmares and whatnot.
Okay, so then it does wear off.
So I think the memory blocking whatever eventually wears off, which is what I think Yeager was trying to say. Like, oh, you weren't supposed to remember that. Sorry, we'll fix that for you. But I think that what the nanites did was they cleared up the scar tissue of the implants, and that the memories aren't necessarily coming back or getting cleaned up. I think that the nanites, didn't they die when we exploded the ship that they were on?
Yeah, the nanites are gone.
Right. So I think that, his memories are just missing. The ones that are missing are missing. The ones that he's remembering.
Okay.
That's my belief.
All right.
So after Dr. Yeager lies, we have a heart-to-heart, and we will get to there were a lot of heart-to-hearts, which got us a lot of info, and we will get to the heart-to-hearts. I don't want people thinking we're forgetting the conversations that happened. But through our heart-to-heart, we end up with, as Zach says,
they're moving along. Everything's good. These characters are just like dealing with the fact that he has like massive PTSD and he killed everybody, and then he's found the doctor he's been searching for, and then all of a sudden, boom, sex.
Or as I like to call it, boom sex. That's right,
it
guys.
Just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Davin, what is it? Dutch? What are we calling it?
Dutch was
the shift name we've been given. All right, I'll take it.
This is a tough one.
Dutch, whatever. The two killers get it on. Yeah.
Yep.
It was wonderful.
I mean,
Yes.
What was who was it that said like we all knew they were heading that way?
Pre said it.
It was Pre. That's right. Yeah.
So I think I got so angry. After the boom sex, we had. Davin is so weird. Davin, we're awesome at the whole sex thing.
Yeah,
high five.
That was the weirdest. Oh. That was like a How I Met Your Mother moment, like implanted into Killjoys.
Yeah, I mean it's very much going back to what Johnny was saying to Pre, is that they're both terrible at this. And that Davin is not. This is not going to end well. And in the end, he's going to have to choose sides when it ends poorly, and then he's gonna choose Dutch. And after this scene with the we're awesome at the whole sex thing, I was like, yeah, no, I also would choose Dutch. That was stupid. But if you take that and apply it to the Potter situation, like, yeah, I would be pissed if I were her too. What a waste of time. He just shouldn't speak. Sorry. Go on.
Ridiculous. No, I mean, the connection between these two has been building since day one.
Right.
It was obvious that they were going to go this way. I'm glad they didn't, like, stall it out for super long.
Right.
Like, pretend for a season and a half that they're not going to get together when everyone knows they're going to get together. Mm-hmm. They waited 6 episodes. We're in the 7th. We're in the 7th, but I'm saying, like, from the point that they met.
Yeah. I think also, I mean, the whole idea of Johnny being jealous, talking to Pri, being like, I'm not jealous. It's my brother and my sister.
I love that. That's a bit, like, yes, don't triangle it. That is unnecessary.
Agreed, especially because we all know who Johnny's OTP is, and it's Lucy. And we'll get to Lucy and Johnny in a second, because then Davin is activated. Great. I mean, it was some cool fighting. It was dirty. It was, and it was so, like, I know we're supposed to feel bad, but it was such badass fight sequences.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, this wasn't, like, fight choreography-wise, they weren't, like, holding back from, because it was, like, a big dude beating up on a woman. Like, This was, like, a fight. This was, I'm gonna punch you in the face because I'm trying to kill you.
Right, and it wasn't just a big dude beating up on a woman. It was this kick-ass girl who we've seen just walk in and take on like 15 guys, going head-to-head against a soldier who is determined to kill her. It was a really well-made sequence.
Yeah, I mean, like,
show's so good.
You got it. Like, she, as good as she is, like, and she takes her blows and responds with dodges and everything and hits him back. Mm-hmm. But there's a certain point at which he is just a larger person than her.
Right.
And, like, so she does, but this is Dutch. Like, she's trained. Like, she knows what to do even when she's outmatched in a fight.
She's a warrior princess.
Yeah, apparently.
Literally. Which we will talk about.
But she knows, like, okay, I'm not going to win just standing my ground and fighting.
Right.
Retreat, hide. And there was a moment where she's, like, looks very scared, and I was, like, worried for a moment that they were going to, like, wimp out on the character and, like, make her, like, running and hiding from him.
Right.
But no, she's just, like, being tactical about it.
Because she's awesome. I love her.
It was great. And it, like, when he punched her in the face, it hurt. Like, you were like, ow, that hurts.
I mean, also, I'm going to say it because everyone knows that I'm perv. I loved, he's kicking her butt shirtless, and she's wearing just a shirt and underwear. Makes it so much better. Just really ups the ante on this show. Because it reminds you that 2 minutes ago they were being intimate, and now they're beating the crap out of each other. What a great show. That's quality television right there.
Yeah. You can go from effing to fighting.
Yeah, effing to effing.
Yeah.
It's great. All right. So Dutch figures it out once she's restrained him. She figures out clearly Jaeger's doing something. And she's like, Johnny, you watch over. So she goes, and we get this Dutch versus the Doctor situation. Meanwhile, poor Johnny gets stabbed.
I mean, like, he gets really close to Davin. Like, he knows that his brother is, like, out of his mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gets stabbed. All right, so Lucy issues a distress call.
This was an interesting...
It's so beautiful.
I'm not sure about this whole moment. Like, look, that was the distress call worked really well. I have an issue because they seem to, for the purpose of that moment, like, to have stunted this artificial intelligence, which up until this point has been very smart.
Okay.
So when he, like, it was just like one line really, like when he says, like, get me to a doctor.
Or call a doctor or whatever.
Call a doctor, and she, like, I need more specifications. That, like, this is a ship that has had, like, ongoing conversations and, like, knows, like, when he, like, needs to know certain details about, like, the power core. Like,
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. She can't interpret, like, he's dying and needs and said, I need a doctor.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I think she was trying to, what kind of doctor? You know, he's been stabbed. She doesn't know that.
My point is just like, this is a very this universe that we're in.
Yeah.
Technology is very far, and to this point, Lucy has been pretty intelligent for an AI. It felt like a step back.
But then she steps forward again and is like, I'm going to call for any doctor within the vicinity. And, of course, Potter shows up.
Yeah, Sarah Bigelow says, Lucy has emotions, Zach. She was panicking for her man.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Right. See? Smart.
I mean, look, I buy it, like, the pause that was there. I like, that's great. It's an emotional pause. Like, I get that. It was just that one line of, like, where she doesn't understand what he means.
Well, I think...
by doctor.
I think she didn't understand, but I think that... Here's what I'm going to say. I think that Lucy needs to be her ship, right? She needs to be this AI. And so she said, what kind of doctor do you need? And I think because he didn't answer,
then
she
it kicks
understood.
into the next mode. All right, I can buy that.
All right, good. All right, so... all right, we're still on this line. Let's talk about Potter. Potter calls for an evac ship. And what she says is, this is Illinois, guys, not Eleanor. Illinois.
Space name.
Seriously. Eleanor Saya Sims of Land Sims. Last time when she was arrested, she was Eleanor Potter Sims. Meaning, we don't know exactly what Saya means, but if we recall, the woman that frees Dutch is Delsea Kendry, and now we've met Eleanor Saya Sims of Land Sims. So, theory, when she got arrested, and they thought she was just Eleanor Potter Sims, and she was like, I know people on Crush, and the guy was like, nobody cares about you, it's because they had the wrong name. I think she is more royal than who she is, because she says to the evac ship, this is Eleanor Saya Sims of Land Sims, you get me that ship or I will, whatever her threat was. That's my thought.
I mean, it makes sense.
That she's in hiding. She's using a fake name. Why?
I mean, this is now 2 female characters. Both of our female leading female characters are secretly royalty.
Yeah.
Dutch apparently, I guess, by marriage.
We will talk about that.
But what? Well, yeah. I mean, but like what I'm saying, like, so, but they're both. That's a big a chance that we just happen across the 2 hiding royals amongst the dirtbags.
Yeah, but I think they're hiding for different reasons, and we'll talk about that in predictions. Let's quickly get back to Dutch versus Jaeger, because I also want to get to the heart-to-hearts. I know everyone wants to talk about those. So we find out from Jaeger the truth that Dav was supposed to only be proof of concept that they could control their soldiers, but he is very determined. And he is a good soldier, as he kept repeating, I have my mission, I'm a good soldier.
It's like, so he almost sounded like a little kid when he said it. Like,
yeah.
I'm a good soldier.
Yeah, I'm a good soldier. Anyway, so Jaeger apparently has been fired, and Dav almost found her previously, which is why there's a kill warrant. It was issued by the company to keep her safe. But now the company is like, well, screw this.
Yeah,
we're done with you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, well, at this point, like, she's probably it sounds like she's perfected her technique.
Yeah, I mean, perfection is a process.
But between her and her former assistant, like, the company is now like, all right, we got the technology. We don't need her anymore.
Yeah, we're not going to protect her.
Let them kill her, because these people have proved pretty useful.
Yeah. So she gets the option, the gun or the chair, and losing her memories, and of course she chooses the gun, so of course we take her memories. All right, let's get to
I love that before we leave from there. I love that as a punishment. Like, that's, like, the cruelest.
Well, yeah.
I would have even preferred, don't just take, like she was like, I'm going to take all your memories. Like, leave her, like, all of her memories up to, like, medical school. Like, so you take away all of her medical training and leave her the last, like, 20 minutes. Like, so you just, like, you leave her enough that she knows what you did, but remembers nothing that could help her, like, maintain her career.
No, I love that she takes everything. They're like, no, we're just going to reset you. Because I imagine her waking up and being like, where am I? How am I this old?
Yeah, but, like, that, like, alleviates her of her, like, guilt. I would want her to live with her guilt.
You're evil.
She's evil.
Yeah, but I think if you take away all of her memories, she's now determined to figure out who she is and what happened, which tells me that maybe we're not done with Jaeger. Right?
Yeah. By not shooting her, though, we did miss a lot of Jaeger shot jokes.
That's true. All right, let's talk about the heart-to-hearts, because we had 3 big heart-to-hearts with the Dutch. I like it. I'm keeping it. All right. The first one is where they're shooting the auto target, and Dutch reveals that she just wants answers from Klein. And we have another connection. Davin also just wants all of his memories back because he wants answers. The second heart-to-heart, before the boom sex, is when Dutch says to Davin, like, you're getting your memories back just because you want to punish yourself. That's what you want. Yes?
Yeah.
But she would kill to forget what she's done. Mm-hmm. And we find out also this, she says, I don't want to compare sins with you because I will win. And that when she was 8, she had her first kill. How is that? Poison. Oh, I think people agree with us about the poison tea.
Yeah, there's a lot of shouting out in the halls.
There is. I think they're upset. So Dutch, her first kill, she was 8. And if Davin can't be forgiven, what does that mean for her? What an interesting question. Interesting.
I mean, there's a lot of struggling. Like, by the end of this episode, like, with the two of them, I think Dutch is, like, very... What was it exactly that she said at the end there?
At the way end?
Like, between the two of them.
At in the last heart-to-heart.
Yeah.
So he says to her, how are you even looking at me? Because he remembers all of it. And he says, you know that it wasn't me and that I would never hurt you. And then Dutch says, but it was me and I can't be okay with that. Which brings up the question, was she talking, but it was me and I can't be okay with that, that he beat her, or that that's who she was as well?
The way I interpret that is it's not about their fight, because, like, she was attacked. Like,
right.
She was acting in defense. She didn't hurt him. She, like, tied him up. And
yes, you did.
And protected herself for the most part. Like, she can't feel bad about it. And he's, like, fine. He's walking around.
Right.
Like a little bit of a cut lip.
She hurt him.
I think it's more about, like, she's talking about, like, her life. Like, him finding out that he was, like, activated as a psychotic person by Jaeger and the military, that alleviates the bulk of his guilt. It wasn't his fault. He didn't have a psychotic break. Somebody drilled into his mind and took over his body. Now he's going to have tons of stuff to deal with about that, because it was still his hand that killed his squad and stabbed his brother. Yeah, but it wasn't him. Like, if it's a psychotic break, then that's like him at some base level doing it, but this is him being controlled by an outside force. So while he's still going to feel bad about it, he can let go of some of it as not minimum, not the only guilty party. But everything that Dutch has done to this point, she's saying it was her. Okay. She made those calls. She didn't have to do all this stuff. And you can argue with her whether Klein is really responsible for it or not, but at least but she was actively controlling herself. She wasn't under somebody else's direct control.
I mean, I think it's arguable that they're both in the same situation. She just doesn't see it yet. That it wasn't her.
That she was brainwashed by Klein.
Yeah. And I mean, Devin is, of course, dealing with all the guilt of stabbing his brother, doesn't see him in the hospital. Dutch hugs and says thank you to Potter. Mind blowing. Pri is there. I was like, who is watching the bar?
I mean, maybe one of the prostitutes upstairs got promoted
because the only
day.
person who would be able to, who I would, if it was my bar, the only person who works there that I would have watch is Potter, and she's busy. Potter and Pri are busy.
You don't know, one of those prostitutes upstairs could be very, very authoritative and good at running the bar.
That's true.
Just they're waiting for their chance.
This was such. I'm saying it again. Kiss Kiss Bye Bye was definitely my favorite episode. That's the name of this episode. It was my favorite episode this season so far, and I think it's time we head into predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, in the trailer for next week, we get introduced to Black Rain, which is a lethal storm. The prisoners are exposed to the elements until death. And then what it looked like, this is a interpretation of the trailer, Pri's bar gets taken hostage by a prisoner who doesn't want to be stuck outside, who's like, I'm going to send someone out in my place. And who's it going to be? But we're all stuck. Our team is stuck in the bar with Pri. That's what it looks like happens next week.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We have 2 episodes left, I think.
2 to 4. 1 to 2. 2 to 1, 5, 7, 25. I don't know.
I believe we have 2 more. Chat roll, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that this is a 9-episode season.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
But
I believe we have 3 episodes left.
Okay, it's 10. Maybe it's 10.
Yes.
Somebody.
According to Wikipedia, I believe it was 10.
Okay. Great. I think in that time we're gonna see a lot more of like what the backstory is on our 2 princesses.
Our 2 warrior princesses. We didn't even talk about how she's widowed.
Hold on. Potter is not a warrior princess. We don't even know that she's technically a princess. We just know that she's somebody super important.
Yeah, she's somebody's kid.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that Dutch was widowed, but I mean that's all we know is that she was married and she's widowed.
Yeah, so she was.
There's so much to talk about, guys.
I mean, do you think she was a child bride? Like,
I'm pretty sure she was supposed to kill her husband, right? Like my thought is Dutch was trained, then married to someone important, which made her a princess.
Part of an assassination plot,
and then killed him.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
talk about like. Oh, that's just like...
That was what I assumed when she was like, I was married.
I thought as soon as you said it, like, that makes a ton of sense.
Right.
That's such a twisted thing. Like,
I feel like that's what Klein would do.
Yeah, he's a messed up individual.
I like Klein. I predict that next week we don't get any Yeager or Klein movement. I guess Yeager is deadish, but like... Memory or Klein. I predict that next week will not give us movement on that front, but will give us more info. I think because we're going to be stuck in this hostage-y situation, we're going to have a lot more conversations which bring out more history of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we get more backstory on on
our
Dutch
team
and stuff, and
maybe even backstory on Pri, because that would be awesome. This episode, Pri looked so adorable. I like that the makeup matched the shirt. So cute. And I like that we got Pri. Really, Pri always says some smart stuff. And I like that we got Pri out of the bar.
We need some of the history pre-Killjoys on Pri.
Nice.
Sorry.
You just trying to make up for Steven's lack of puns today?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Failing. Anything from the chat roll in terms of prediction? It's the French way of saying it. Prediction. Yes.
My prediction for this after show, we will learn more about Yael.
Yeah, okay. That's an obvious prediction, guys. It's like saying Dutch will be in the next episode. Anything else?
It is a 10-episode season. Thank you, and Saeed. I was wrong.
I like when I'm right. Anything else? Anything you want to add?
Sarah says, so is next week's episode a bottle episode? I don't really think a bottle episode, it refers to any episode of television where you've like kept everyone in one room.
Yes.
Specifically, like if you watched Breaking Bad, The Fly was a bottle episode.
Okay.
Community has like a literal episode about being a bottle episode.
So
if you want to know more about it, go watch that one where they're just stuck in the study room for the entire 30
I believe
minutes.
that this is going to be a bottle episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know that Killjoys ever really will be. It doesn't seem like it's that type of show because it looks like they're getting off the ship. But it might be more of a bottle episode than others, where this one had like tons of different locations bouncing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Guys, thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone in the chat roll. You know where to find us every week, 6 p.m. Sundays here, Pacific time for those on the Pacific. Zach, where can they find you during the week?
Thanks for geeking out with us, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatzachWilson. And tomorrow night on Dominion, we're going to have a couple of the writers joining us. After last week's fun with Vaughn Wilmot, and then The Strain, which Stephen Lemieux normally does. He will be out as well.
Because he's still sad. You can follow me online at Yael.tv. That's YAEL.tv. Also, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And again, next week, 6 p.m., right here on Sundays. Bye.
See you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.